So what made you first decide to return to Egypt?
Well, it was, first of all, being always missing my country. But as a number of cases filed against me in courts dwindled, either because we won them in court or because they were dropped down to 2 cases.
Okay.
One of them was a tax evasion case, which was straightforward because it was about the same 3 years I was in prison. I did not pay the taxes, so that was easy. Took care of that. The other one is still pending,
Okay.
but there was no date for the session, court sessions. So I felt as if the government is keeping it there just as a sword over my neck to see how I would behave. But it was also coinciding with the months of Ramadan,
Yes.
the fasting months. So I found that this is a good time to go. I took a risk. I had a huge reception in the airport, overwhelming, so I had not counted on that. And that may have also convinced the government they better not, since that reception in the airport is kind of a sign of, test of popularity or following. The government had not managed to isolate me or to make the people forget about me as I probably had hoped. So, I don't know, a mixture of all of these factors.
Okay.
So that was a good timing. It was probably as good timing as any. I had nearly 5 weeks, probably four weeks plus few days, full of activities, meetings, visitations, well-wishers, went to my village, went to visit relatives and friends in different parts of the country. So it was a great outcome.
That's good to hear. So what happened afterwards? What was the situation with signing the petition for Gamal Mubarak?
It was not really endorsing Gamal Mubarak, but asserting his right, making a statement to his right to run for any office. And I made it very clear to his followers who came to see me.
Okay.
And they really pleaded for that for quite a while because I did not grant them the audience immediately. But having seen other representatives of other political parties, they felt that if I'm really as democratic, as fair as I claim to be, I should meet with them, even though they know that I have a lot of issues with the regime.
Yes.
So I granted them the meeting. They came. There was a lot of journalists, there was a lot of cameras, and they explained what they were doing. And they asked me one question: do I agree that Gamal Mubarak, has a right to run for the presidency?
Yes.
I said, as an Egyptian citizen, if he's eligible, age-wise, health-wise, the other things that they require in a candidate, yes, he's entitled, and I support his right to run. He's educated, he's well-versed in world affairs. Not sure about domestic affairs, but at least. So that's very general. He was my student, former student, so I know him. But I made a point to distinguish between acknowledging his right to run and endorsing it.
Okay.
For endorsing any candidate, I made it clear that I have to read their programs and to see how they will manage their campaign for the presidency. And that is fairly premature. because the presidency is in a year and a few months. Is November 2011, the election.
Okay. So by signing the petition, you were...
His right to run.
Yes, you were saying that he has a right to run, not necessarily that you support
It's not really
him.
a petition, I made a statement. Yes.
Okay.
But hoping and dying for anything to get some heat in his campaign, because it's fairly, shall we say, cold to frigid campaign. There's not much enthusiasm in the streets for it. I think they were just hoping for anything that would just give them some fresh jump or something.
I understand what you're saying. So you think that
So they hang it on that. All the state-controlled papers, they had it front page, center, never got any coverage like that, even in the height of my own incarceration. But with that event, there was a lot of coverage. And then when I realized what they were doing, taking one sentence out of a whole paragraph, shall we say, I issued a disclaimer, and again asserting that while he has a right to run, this is in no way an endorsement, because there are candidates, some of whom are more capable than he is. And after all, I will make my mind, and I hope Egyptians will make their mind, only after they read the programs of all the candidates, and after they see their performance during the electoral campaign.
So you think that this controversy erupted just because the press was looking for something to grab onto?
Right, exactly. Partly of that.
Okay. What other things do you think played into that?
The conspiracy theory mongers would like to make out of this more than there is. The fact that my arrival here coincided with Mubarak's arrival for something different, nothing planned. The fact that I was coming to New Jersey, not to Washington, but it is to America. Is it just accidental that I and Mubarak are arriving to America the same day? Is it accidental that Mubarak is accompanying his son, Gamal, over whom all of this controversy erupted? Just throwing these kind of insinuation is giving all the conspiracy-minded Middle Easterners a lot of room, a lot of space, and a lot of material to work with. Of course, all events are completely unrelated. I mean, I'm coming here because this is academic year, first of all. He is coming here for the resumption, the opening session of the Palestinian-Israeli talks, negotiation. So he and King Abdullah of Jordan are invited to attend. So completely unrelated. As a matter of fact, there were to be demonstrations against him in Washington, D.C., which I declined because it coincides with Wednesday, which was my teaching day. There again, say, wow, then there must be a deal between me and the regime, making that statement, which they made it look like an endorsement. So the critics saying, well, that must have been the deal. And because the demonstration was cancelled, because I'm not free to go. Just few coincidences, I don't know if you know.
What would you like to say to all of the people who think that there is some conspiracy going on?
Well, I'm sure there's enough probably intrigues in international politics. But I am, for the record, for the last 40 years, been fighting the conspiracy theory. because
So you're at a liberal arts college then?
it's hard to prove. It provides an alibi for laziness, for inactivity, for non-involvement. Since there is a conspiracy for everything, it's kind of demeaning of human beings' ability to make history. If things are conspiratorially arranged somewhere else by somebody else, it's kind of excuse them for inaction. So I'm saying, yes, while there may be intrigues, but in no way should we use this as an alibi for inaction. I, like every peace-loving human being, and who thinks that peace and democracy are two sides of the same coin, I urge the community and group to take an interest in the Middle East, because this is a region on whose oil, stability, and strategic location the whole world depends. And therefore, taking an interest in what's going on in the Middle East becomes not only a pastime, it should be a duty and obligation for every sane, concerned citizen, yet Drew and elsewhere.
Okay.